Hi, I'm Catherine Austin, and welcome to Living Karma Yoga. This is a show where we celebrate all that the yoga world has to offer, from the postures to music, mantra, meditation, travel, cooking, and so much more. Yoga for 1 hour just isn't enough in today's busy world, so we're going to help you take your yoga off the mat and into your life. I hope you find here many tools to help you live the life you deserve. And that's a life where you can literally vibrate love, joy, fulfillment, and abundance in all forms. So today I'm excited that we have Natalie Pyatt back in the studio. We've had you before, which is so great. And Natalie is one of our teachers at Karma Yoga. She's an ERYT 500. That means a certified yoga teacher and in Anusara. And she's also an Ayurvedic inner medicine practitioner. She uses yoga and Ayurvedic medicine to help students improve their health as a gateway to higher consciousness. Natalie delights in the journey of aligning with nature, both on and off the mat, and helping others reveal the innate goodness and radiant health that is literally the essence of life. She's dedicated to study and practice of Ayurveda. That's like the sister science of yoga in the Wise Earth tradition. And also Natalie is a certified massage therapist and Ayurvedic counselor. She's trained in the United States and Southeast Asia. So welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yes.
Nice to be here again.
And we're excited today because we're talking about an upcoming fall cleanse that we're going to hold at Karma Yoga. And like your bio said, you really weave into our yoga and your yoga practice also this Ayurvedic way of living. And you know, maybe you can touch on that first before we really jump into what the cleanse is and why we cleanse and how you got to cleansing.
So Ayurveda is the sister science to yoga, like you mentioned, meaning the lifestyle, the diet, the meditation and breath work of a yogi, everything that we do off the mat to support our practices.
And this comes out of the Vedas.
That's right. So it's traditional Indian medicine. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not, the caduceus, which is our Western medical symbol, was borrowed from the Greeks who borrowed it from ancient India. So these are actually symbols that are very much a part of our day-to-day lives. Mm-hmm. And so I always tell people that Ayurveda is more of a remembering process.
I love that.
Reigniting the cosmic intelligence of our cells and healing ourselves from the intuitive knowing from the inside out.
So Ayurveda can teach somebody how to use natural ways to come into balance. Is that correct?
Exactly.
So sometimes it is appropriate to have Western medicine, we know that.
Absolutely.
But this is a path that's taught me how to really take care of myself easily day to day to perhaps avoid a problem or an imbalance.
That's where Ayurveda's strength really lies, is in preventative care. Mm-hmm. It absolutely has methodology to support disease once it's in process, but it's just so ideal for someone embarking on a yogic path as preventative care, really self-love and self-care practices that bring about health and radiance.
I've always loved that. And when someone comes to you, what you learn is, I don't have to live with this migraine, or I don't have to live with this constipation or digestion issue. Sometimes we just like accept that, oh, that's who I am, or that's my DNA, but not necessarily true, right?
That's right. There's a lot that can be offered through food as medicine or simple folk remedy type of medicines that are so simple, but just enough to change the circumstances of what's happening on the inside. And Ayurveda looks at everyone uniquely, so your unique constitution is taken into consideration.
Right, because we're all so different.
Exactly.
Well, so the subject today is the fall cleanse, and that's coming up in mid-October, and there'll be about 3 weekends that involves some sessions with you.
That's right.
And we just did the spring cleanse, and we had over 50 people participating in that. I did it, and it was phenomenal. I feel so great still from the spring cleanse.
You were so remarkable on the cleanse, and you've cleansed a few times now with us.
Yeah.
And this cleanse seemed to be just incredible for you.
It was, and I went deeper than I've ever gone in just many ways. Not just losing weight or anything. That's not why I do a cleanse, although that can be a byproduct of it. It took me deeper in my consciousness, and meaning awareness of food more and labels even more. And even though I've been living this lifestyle, I learned more.
Yeah, I think that's why many people do it again and again. Also, that's why yogis cleanse. It's not really about an external result as much as it is about cleaning the surface of the heart and the mind so that we can experience pure consciousness. It really shifts our practice. Physically, the meditation practice, and for people who aren't engaging in the practice deeply yet, it's a nice gateway in. You start to feel a little bit more freedom in your body, and that makes it feel like, okay, I can get on my yoga mat now, or maybe you get off the caffeine and the sugar and you start to feel like, maybe I could sit for meditation.
Right. Well, I haven't gone back on caffeine since.
Oh, wonderful.
So that was a good one for me. And I kind of go on and off caffeine over time. It's nothing like it's been a huge part of my life. But I noticed how I could slip back into maybe a cup of coffee a day, and now don't need that. I get so much energy other ways. So let's go back first to when you first started doing cleanses yourself, and why?
Well, it's a part of Ayurvedic curriculum. So when I was doing my training, traditional Ayurvedic cleansing is introduced right from the beginning, because cleansing is really the way for the yogi to hit the reset button, step away from especially the householder, to step away from maybe a busy schedule. Obviously, I have a young child myself and responsibilities I can't completely step away from, but the schedule gets a little bit quieter and you take a little bit more time to reattune and realign yourself with your core intentions. So when we started with the Ayurvedic training, I was first introduced to mono dieting, meaning that we eat a very simple diet of something called khichdi. Khichdi is something that we still use in the cleanse today. It's an option for many people that they really, really enjoy. And it is equal parts of basmati rice and mung beans. So you have perfect balance between carbohydrates and protein. It just simplifies digestion in every way. So your body doesn't have to guess what it's going to eat. You eat it for all of your meals. That's the mono dieting part. You can have as much of it as you want, so you're never starving.
That one works good for me. I really connect with that.
You can add vegetables to it or not, depending on what your goals are for your cleanse and what your lifestyle, activity level of energy is needed. But that's a really beautiful and traditional Ayurvedic approach to cleansing, just to simplify. Now, some people don't actually enjoy having as much grain and legume in their diet, and so in our cleanse we have lots of different approaches to cleansing, whether it's a whole food diet cleanse or a raw food diet cleanse, or even bringing in some more of the liquid components of juicing and smoothies and soups, keeping it really simple for your digestion. And that was my first teacher who talked a lot about cleansing was an Indian doctor, and he really emphasized to us how much in the West we know about what's inside of food. We know about the calories and the fat and the protein and the vitamins and the minerals. But he said that in the West, the thing that we really don't understand is what emptiness feels like.
Right. That's
and
very
that
true.
was a very insightful comment. It's something that stayed with me for many, many years. Now, on the cleanse, you're consuming nutrients. In fact, a lot of times you're consuming way more nutrients than you do in your daily life. But for most people, it's still a quantity. You're reducing the quantity. You're really working the body to maximize efficiency. And you're experiencing true emptiness. You're allowing a meal to be ingested, to be digested, and then waiting for true hunger to appear, which sometimes can be a little elusive. We busy ourselves with food often.
Right.
And so we explore all different experiences of consciousness and physical sensation on the cleanse. Since studying Ayurveda over the years, I've been introduced to many modern Ayurvedic doctors and teachers who were able to help synthesize different approaches into my training and methodology that I use in my approach, which is why the cleanse is so beautiful and so many people can participate, whether it's someone who's literally living on a standard American diet and ingesting fast food and processed foods. There's a place for them in the cleanse that is accessible.
Right.
And or someone who has cleansed bi-seasonally, you know, twice or biannually, twice a year for years as a yogi, right? There's still a depth for us to access as well.
Oh, very much. So we want to kind of demystify that the typical cleanses that most people know about aren't always the best or safe for you. This is not that type of cleanse. It's not like a liquid cleanse or you're starving yourself, because you can always eat whatever's on your menu and list that you tell us.
That's
and I never feel that I'm never eating enough or whatever.
Wonderful. That's great, and a good point to make too. I think cleansing has become very popular in our culture, which on many levels is wonderful, but sometimes the fear goes up right away that we're going to be starving or that we're going to be depleting our body in some way.
Some of them are not safe. I think the new Ayurvedic cleansing are so nourishing.
It's true, and that's really one of the main approaches that we take, is that it's a rejuvenation process. And so it's just an opportunity to take a break from things that might not be most optimal and to tap into more nutrient-dense, full body pacifying and balancing foods.
And you really learn a lot about yourself, because you can take us through what it's going to be like. But in the beginning, you're getting off of some of the things that you don't realize how attached your body is to, like sugar and caffeine and maybe alcohol and carbohydrates and dairy.
Right. Yeah. So, well, on the Khichdi cleanse, carbohydrates are still a big part of the cleanse. But yes, you're starting to move from processed foods, definitely processed sugars, although people are always surprised to find, like, oh, I can have a date on the cleanse, or oh, I could have some maple syrup still on the cleanse.
Right.
So it's not that you're going to completely eliminate the sweet taste, although many people find that eventually they're totally satiated with a piece of fruit, and even that can feel, your taste buds change.
Yes.
So even that can feel like such a big shift. You know, your taste buds change pretty rapidly and pretty quickly, so you do hit the reset button. Right now you might be experiencing cravings towards the end of the summer. It's common for people to have indulged a little bit, maybe have ice cream as a routine or alcohol or whatever it is, and without any judgment, we just set aside some time to step away from those things, and especially stimulants and heavier foods and processed foods, and yield back towards a whole foods based diet.
Right.
And from there, that's really the starting point for my cleanse. We get everyone working with a whole foods based diet that's stimulant free and that is easy to digest. And then there's a lot of options. Some people choose to stay there and feel so great there that they enjoy that for a stretch of time. And other people decide to go a little bit deeper, and there's options for them as well.
So you can tailor the cleanse to be 5 days or 2 weeks, right?
It's true, yes.
For what you feel you're up for.
What you're up for, what your schedule allows for. We really want the whole cleanse experience to be rejuvenating, so I don't want anyone feeling stressed about the cleanse.
Right.
You can feel really good about setting aside a day or two, a weekend if that's all you've got, and just take a little time for yourself there.
So that said, I do think it's good to kind of look at your calendar and plan for it, because if you have a lot of engagements or social engagements, it's kind of hard to be on the cleanse when, you know, you want to stay with the cleanse and everybody's out at the restaurant eating. So it does take a little looking ahead. So let's just remind everybody it's mid-October. So plan ahead, maybe not to schedule too much.
We'll have everything up on our website.
Yes,
so
everything will be up on the website.
People can see.
So let's talk about how you really support everybody through the process with meetings, Facebook groups. You have a tremendous library of recipes you give us, beautiful handout packets of how to walk us through this if you're new or not new to cleansing. Yeah,
I tried over the years, I'm trying to remember what number we're on now, but I think that it's like our 10th or 12th season of cleansing. And so by now we've got a real comprehensive library that people can work from. And I think that touching in the community meetings is still really important. Mm-hmm. And so we have a sort of kickoff meeting where we meet and we just kind of wrap our head around it. We deal with that sensation of, I don't know if I want to do this, actually.
No coffee.
Right. We deal with all of that. And by the way, when you're coming off coffee, right, we go gradually. Everything's gradual and very gentle and easy. And I even have some people who say, forget it, I'm going to do the cleanse and I'm not doing that. And it's like, okay, you make your choices.
Your cleanse.
It's your cleanse. You get to make your choices. And you get to feel good about where you find yourself, wherever you are. There's no judgment in our space. That being said, I do encourage people to try to step away from the stimulants. And people will find that as they get into it during the week, that first week, they have the Facebook group, they have full access to me through email, and I try to be there for everyone. I clear my schedule so that I'm really present for everyone. Mm-hmm. And then we meet in the middle, and that's when we start to go like, all right, I've really started to shift things. Something's happening. I'm not having any sort of withdrawal anymore. I'm not crabby anymore. It's great. That second meeting, people start to go, I feel great. I have tons of energy. Oh my gosh, I'm sleeping so much better.
Oh, I know. It's so great.
My aches and pains are relieving. You know, I didn't get a headache today. It's so wonderful. And then there's still a few people that are like, I don't know. And it's wonderful for them to be there, because they get to hear from their peers and their friends and like, you can do this, you know, we really support each other through it. And that's when people start to decide where they want to go with the cleanse. I really offer a lot of theory and options around, you know, the philosophy of cleansing from a huge spectrum of options that people can choose from. And we start to customize and tailor the cleanse. We have a lot of room for question and answer at that point. And then we meet at the end to really address, what do I do now? I feel fantastic, but you know, I've got birthday parties coming up, I've got work engagements coming up, catered events, things like this. How do I eat there? When I look at a menu, what do I choose? What's going to be most optimal for me? And when I don't adhere to my main intentions with food, which is going to happen, and really Ayurveda encourages us to experience all of life. You know, people always ask me, you know, do you ever have this or that? And I do, you know?
I do too.
Yeah.
I get the same question.
And so we actually have an approach to managing it, you know? If we eat more at a dinner party a night before, or if we have a few sweets the day before, how do we, you know, get back on track the next day and maximize our health?
So I want to say that the cleanse is not a diet. It's actually a way to change your palate, clear out some of the things that we may be a little addicted to, you know, sugar or caffeine, excuse me, and it gets us back to whole foods and actually cooking for ourselves a little bit. And so it's kind of sneaky without even knowing it. We're shifted into this other way of eating, and we don't feel that it's deprived or we're on a diet or anything.
Exactly. That's the goal.
Yeah.
Really. That at the end we have tools for a lifestyle that makes us feel really empowered.
What I noticed with this past cleanse is I started going to the grocery store to get things for it, and even after the cleanse, and I am only shopping in the produce section. I'm not going down any of the other aisles, which is all maybe the bulk food so I can get my nuts. But I skipped all the aisles, which everything else is processed food. If it's in a box or a jar, right?
Pretty much.
So, and I wasn't even in the dairy section because I wasn't having dairy. I wasn't picking up prepared food that someone else made.
Right.
So it was like this little part of the store that I'm shopping in and totally eating out of for my whole life.
I love it. That's wonderful.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah. You know, the other piece of the cleanse that's so sweet, and I really appreciate getting feedback from people after the cleanse is over, and the thing that people come back again and again with that really also tickles me is that they've started to really think about not just what they're putting in their body, but what they put on their body. So a big component of the cleanse is also picking up some practices like self-massage or pranayama practice. or taking walks in nature and connecting to the lunar calendar. And at first it can feel a little far out and different for people, but at the end, often people report that that's also a piece that they carry with themselves and that they feel really impacted by. Just the self-massage alone can be hard to start in the beginning, but then once you get going, the benefits are quick to show up. Within a day or two. You can start to notice circulation is improved and aches and pains are going away. If there's inflammation or rashes, they can already be impacted. And then with some longevity, with some use, you know, really committing to just a simple massage practice a few times a week, you can really start to see radiance in the skin and, you know, more like a calmness in the nervous system.
Huge. So now I want to focus a little bit on the food in the cleanse and the preparation. What I love so much is that the recipes are very simple, very little ingredients. So maybe you can talk about that.
It's true.
The whole process of taking care of ourselves with cooking.
Right. Preparing our own food is such an important piece of healing ourselves, and yet in today's culture it can feel like one more task to do. So one of the things that we try to do during the cleanse is emphasize preparing your own food, but keeping it really simple. So even people who aren't that into cooking or don't have lots of gizmos in their kitchen can find that the cleanse is very accessible to them. And also that there's, so, like you were describing your experience going through the produce aisle, food is beautiful. And you can only have something very simple and yet create something very beautiful. Nowadays, when I have friends over or do a dinner party, I'm always so happy because it will be simple foods and yet the presentation feels so special because it's beautiful food.
I love that I could make these amazing soups that you have the recipes for, and they're not even cooking them.
Right.
They just right in, now I have a Vitamix, so that's kind of nice.
That's helpful.
But could you do those in a blender too?
You can. Sometimes you might do a little soft steaming of the food before if your blender's not super strong, but definitely using a blender is a nice way to simplify things. A couple things popped in there to add the right herbs or spices, and you have a wonderfully nutritious and delicious meal.
And then I noticed that your cleanses have shifted a little bit. You've had like more smoothies in them or juices. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, it's an option, especially when you want to go a little bit deeper into the cleanse. When you're cleansing, the main goal is to simplify what's going in and through and out of your body. And so you want to pack in the nutrients and yet keep it really easy for your body to digest. The body generally digests softly cooked or steamed or pureed foods much easier. That's why we feed convalescent pureed foods and soups, because it's just very easy on the digestive tract. And so we include on the cleanse liquid options for people to still get a lot of nutrients and allow the body to absorb them in a very simple way. Now, that being said, you wouldn't start there necessarily. A lot of times we'll go through phases to get ourselves into a deeper, you know, if someone decides that they want a juice or smoothie for a couple days, we usually create a little bit of preparation on either side of that. So transitioning into that simple diet is easy and it feels really supported.
I like that. I think this past cleanse I did maybe a full week on the kitchery for me, and then I was ready for a change, but I didn't want to get off the cleanse because I was feeling so amazing. So I moved into like the green smoothies and more of the soups, and I felt like I had some variety.
Good.
Right, not just eating kitchery all the time.
Yep.
So it's very workable within all your recipes, and your recipes are so good and so easy.
I'm so glad to hear that. It's wonderful.
So what are some other benefits that for yoga that, you know, how does it help the yogi? with cleansing?
Sure. Well, I mean, physically, cleansing is so wonderful, which is why it's so popular right now. It can help clear conditions around digestion, sleep, anxiety, depression. It can help with skin imbalances or little aches and pains that people have, arthritis, all sorts of things. Diabetes, it's wonderful for diabetics. So there's a ton of physical things that are cleared when you cleanse or when you begin the process of cleansing. And then when some of that stuff begins to fall off, something emerges from deep inside, a sense of well-being, a sense of intuitive knowing of how to take care of yourself. And a lot of times people experience the desire to go deeper with their yoga practice, which is a beautiful byproduct to me as a yoga teacher. That after you feel a little bit better in your skin, that naturally there's this sense of wanting to go deeper. When you want to go deeper, what's available to you then? For some people, it's like really embracing the self-care practices, like the massage that we already mentioned, or pranayama. Pranayama is a breathing practice that can be done ritually in the day. Also a very easy and simple way to calm the nervous system and to invoke a state of meditation from the inside out. I find that a lot of people enjoy doing it in the morning or in the afternoon when they get home from work as a way to transition into their evening.
It's helping them get some of these newer rituals into their life as well.
Exactly, that's the key.
Can you, as we're wrapping up now, we are running out of time, can you talk about why you feel it's best just to cleanse twice a year?
Sure.
And why the spring and the fall versus winter?
Exactly. So Ayurvedic theory has us cleansing twice a year to hit the reset button at the times when we are most likely to have accumulated what's called the dosha, which is elemental energies in the body. And we just notice it happening after a full winter, especially here where it gets nice and cold. Sometimes we've packed on a little bit more weight or we've been eating a little bit more heavy. And when the spring comes, there's this natural desire to lighten up and to shift the blood towards more alkalinity. So that's a perfect time to cleanse. And then at the end of the summer, as we start to move into the fall time, it's a wonderful time to cleanse because we've accumulated heat from the summer. And oftentimes not just from the foods that we have eaten, but also from the temperature itself and sometimes the activities. We're more outside and active in the summer. So it's another great time to gently hit the reset button. Now the focus is a little different in each cleanse, and we go over that. The spring goals versus the fall goals. Spring in Ayurveda is considered the most optimal, and then fall is like the queen next.
Oh, nice. So does the fall one prepare us to be maybe healthier through the winter?
Absolutely. People report consistently that they have less colds and flus and whatnot. It's wonderful.
Oh, well, yay. So we're looking forward to the cleanse. It's going to be mid-October. And just pay attention to the website. We'll have the flyer up very soon and all the dates and all the details. And it doesn't really fill up because we have plenty of room. So the more the merrier, and it's great to do it with a group. So thank you again for coming and giving us the details. Can't wait to cleanse again. For more information, go to our website, www.karma-yoga.net. Namaste.